Welcome to the deep dive.
Okay, today we're plunging into one of history's truly massive volcanic events, the Minoan eruption of Santorini. We're talking a staggering VEI-7 eruption. I mean, ejecting something like 28 to 41 cubic kilometers of material. That's global impact territory, right?
Absolutely. And our mission for this deep dive really is to explore not just the sheer geological power of it all, but also the incredible scientific detective work trying to pin down its exact date, and also the surprising ways it sort of echoed through ancient civilizations. It might have shaped myths, maybe even history itself.
So before the cataclysm, paint us a picture. Ancient Thera, what we call Santorini, now this beautiful ring of islands. What was it like?
Yeah, imagine a thriving Bronze Age paradise, really. But, and this is crucial, the volcano wasn't totally silent beforehand. It gave warnings. There were earthquakes, minor ash falls, probably for a few months before the main event.
And this preliminary activity, it seems, gave the local population time to flee. That's likely why we haven't found human remains at Akrotiri. A small mercy, really, in such a disaster.
Right, a warning sign. But that final eruption, the sheer amount of material is hard to grasp. It wasn't just one big explosion, was it? How did it actually happen?
No, not at all. It unfolded in four major phases, each one getting more intense. The final phase was just utterly cataclysmic. The whole caldera collapsed in on itself.
Wow.
And that produced megatsunamis. We're talking waves estimated at, well, anywhere from 35 to maybe 150 meters high.
150 meters. It's
Right.
almost impossible to visualize. Imagine seeing it coming.
Exactly. These waves just hammered the northern coast of Crete, which is, what, over 100 kilometers away?
Yeah, 110 kilometers.
And they completely reshaped Santorini itself, burying everything under meters of thick pumice.
Okay, so despite this undeniable massive impact, the exact date, it's still fiercely debated. And the key thing here isn't just that it's debated, but why this one date matters so much. Like how a century's difference completely changes how we line everything up in the ancient Mediterranean.
Precisely. It's a critical anchor point,
Yeah.
for the whole Bronze Age chronology across the Eastern Med. And the evidence, well, it pulls in different directions.
Right, and this conflict in evidence is what keeps the debate going, isn't it? You've got archaeological dating.
Yeah, often based on pottery styles, linking it to Egyptian Dynasty 8. That generally points later, maybe 1550 to 1480 BCE, somewhere in there.
But then radiocarbon dating consistently suggests something earlier.
That's right. Often pointing to the late 17th century BCE, you see dates like 1663 to 1612 BCE popping up. And researchers like Sturt Manning and Charlotte Pearson, they've done amazing work refining the calibration curves to try and resolve this.
And the science behind figuring this out is pretty cool. I read that initial signals in ice cores, like a big global cooling around 1627 BCE, were thought to be Thera.
They were, initially. But that link was later disproven. It turned out, through geochemical analysis, basically fingerprinting the ash, that the ice core signature didn't match Thera. It pointed to Alaska's Mount Aniakchak instead.
Ah, okay, so science correcting itself.
Exactly, a great example of it. So now scientists are looking for other potential signals for Thera across both the 17th and 16th centuries BCE. The search continues.
Okay, setting aside the dating puzzle for a second, let's talk about the human side. What did this actually mean for the people living there? Beyond the dates, what was the experience like? How did it shatter and, well, maybe reshape their lives?
Well, on Santorini itself, Akrotiri was completely buried, entombed. But there's some evidence suggesting survivors actually came back later. On Crete, you had widespread destruction from the earthquakes and those massive tsunamis. Yet, and this is fascinating, the Minoans seem to have recovered quite quickly. They entered what's often seen as their cultural peak after the eruption.
That seems counterintuitive.
It does. But here's a real head-scratcher. Even as they recovered, they made these puzzling cultural changes, like filling in their lustral basins, these important ritual purification pools. Why do that right at your cultural peak? It suggests that cataclysm maybe altered their worldview, their spiritual life, pretty profoundly.
And thinking bigger picture, the eruption's effects seem to have reached surprisingly far. You mentioned echoes.
Yeah, potentially quite far. The Chinese bamboo annals, around 1618 BCE, describe things like yellow fog, a dim sun, frost in July, famine. Sounds a lot like a volcanic winter, doesn't it?
It really does. And didn't Egypt have something similar?
Possibly. There's the Egyptian tempest stele of Ahmose I. It talks about apocalyptic storms and darkness. Now, whether that's definitely linked to Thera's climate effects is still debated, but it's suggestive.
And maybe even echoes in Greek myths.
Perhaps. Hesiod's theogony describes Zeus throwing thunderbolts that sound a bit like volcanic lightning, boiling seas. It's possible the memory of such a huge eruption fed into those stories. And of course, there's the famous Atlantis connection proposed by Spirit and Marinados. He linked Thera to Plato's story. But current scholarship generally doesn't support that view, as captivating as it is.
Right. So bringing this all together, what's the takeaway for you listening? This Minoan eruption was, well, a truly colossal force of nature. Its effects just rippled out across continents, across centuries.
And its precise timing. Still one of history's great scientific puzzles. It really highlights how dynamic, how interconnected the ancient world actually was.
So here's a final thought. Imagine living through that. Just picture it. How would an event of that magnitude fundamentally change how you see the world? And maybe how would that change the stories you pass down for generations?